Hello everyone. Now we'll be discussing the part 2 of Polity syllabus. So let us begin. First we have separation of power between various organs. In this you should know what are the provisions for checks and balances in Indian Constitution. Like we have judicial review, we have motion of no confidence. Then you should know the various doctrines which have been derived by judiciary to ensure the separation of power. Like we have doctrine of separation of power, doctrine of checks and balances, doctrine of constitutionalism, and the various related judgments to this doctrine. Like we have Golaknath case, Keshwanand Bharati case, Indira Gandhi case, Ram Javia case, and IR Kolev case. But you should also know that there is no strict separation of power in Indian Constitution. Rather, we believe in confluence of power in Indian Constitution so that various organs can remain in harmony with each other. Then we have dispute redressal mechanisms. In mechanisms, we have mediation, reconciliation, and arbitration. And in institutions, we have tribunals, Gram Nyayalaya, Lok Adalat, along with Supreme Court and High Court. Then you should know about PIL, and national litigation policy should be known to you in a brief, that what it contained and what was its necessity and what were its recommendations. Then we have comparison of Indian constitution scheme with that of other countries. In this you should know parliamentary form of government, what are the features, the difference between presidential and parliamentary government. Then you should be able to compare Indian constitution on the basis of its features. What are the features? The structure, functioning, federal system with unitary bias, fundamental rights, single citizenship, emergency provisions. So these are the features of Indian constitution on the basis of which you should be able to compare it with other constitutions, especially the American and British constitution. Then we have structure and organization and functioning of the executive and the judiciary. Okay, in executive we have president and governors, what are their powers, function and issues with them. Then we have prime minister and council of minister for the union, in which we have article 74 and 75, and for the state we have article 163 and 164. Then we have maximum governance and minimum government. In this you should know how this can be achieved, why is it needed in the first place, and what are the issues in achieving this concept. Then we have judiciary. In this we have judges, the tenure of judges, oath of judges, and how are they removed. Then we have independence of Supreme Court. How is it ensured in constitution? What are the various provisions in constitution which ensure independence of Supreme Court? Then we have contempt of court. In this we have civil and criminal contempt. Then we have judicial activism. What is judicial activism and what is PIL should be known to us. Then what are the issues with respect to contempt of court? One of the issue is that it goes against Article 19, freedom of speech. Then with judicial activism is that it encroaches on the executive domain. Then we have PIL. One of the issues with PIL is that it leads to overburden judiciary. Okay. Then we have collision system and its issues, and NJAC should be known to you in brief. Then we have pendency of cases. We have so many, more than 3 crore pending cases in our courts. Then we have access to justice, that the poor are not able to access courts, and the issue of under trials is also there. Then we have judiciary under RTI. Should judiciary be brought under RTI? What are the issues if judiciary is brought under RTI? Then we have All India Judicial Service. Is it needed or is it not needed? This should be known to us. Then we have parliament and state legislatures. In this we should know structures and powers, the judicial power, legislative power, executive and emergency powers of parliament and state legislature. Then we should know about functioning. How do they function? By passing motions, ordinary and money bills, parliamentary committees, delegated legislature. In parliamentary committees we have why do we need them in the first place, what are issues with respect to them, and how can they be improved. Then in delegated legislature we have what is delegated legislature, why is it needed, and what are issues with respect to delegated legislature. Then in conduct of business, what are the issues? There have been less meeting hours, there have been frequent disruptions, there is anti-defection law, and then there have been issues with respect to speaker, that the speaker is at times partisan. Then we have privileges. Okay, what are the provisions in Indian Constitution for the various privileges of legislatures? How are they misused? And is there a need for codification? Why is there a need for codification and how can they be codified? And the issues arising out of them. That one of the issue is that Article 19 is at time at stake because of this privileges, misuse of privileges. Another issue is that it goes against the separation of power. Then we have ministries and departments of government. In this we have relationship between minister and civil servant. What are the features of ideal relationship? One of the feature is that both can be frank to each other. But this has deteriorated, and the reasons for this deterioration is that we have politicization of the bureaucracy and there has been corruption. This has led to deterioration. Then we have proliferation of ministries and issues of accountability. See, due to a large number of ministries like this, okay, there has been proliferation of accountability. Now you cannot pinpoint that this was mistake of this ministry only. This ministry will put blame on this, it will put blame on this. So like this, due to proliferation of ministries, we have issue of accountability nowadays. And then you should know what are the limitations with respect to department of government. One of the limitations is that they have manpower issues. Okay, the manpower present with them is generalistic nature. They do not have experts. They have budget issues. Also, they do not collect feedback from the public. This is another issue. Then we have issues with functioning of ministries. One is that long term versus short term approach. See, the bureaucrats want to take a long term approach, but the politicians have elections to win, and hence they want to take a short term approach. So this is one of the issue. Another is interference of minister in day to day administration. See, ideally the minister should only design the policy and leave the implementation to the bureaucrats, but the minister interferes in day to day functioning of ministries and interferes with the implementation of the scheme. So this is another issue. Then we have pressure groups, formal informal association, and their role in polity. So what are the characteristics of feature group? What are their definition? What are the types of pressure group? We have caste based, we have religion based, okay, then we have interest based. These are the types of pressure groups. Then the pressure groups, political parties and interest group. In this we should know about definition of each one of them and the difference between pressure group, political parties and interest group. Then we have functions, role and importance of pressure group. What is their function, what is their role, and what is their importance. Then we have techniques, methods of pressure group. How do they function? One of the technique is they do lobbying, then they do electioneering, then they do propaganda. So these are the techniques and method. And pressure groups in India, you should know example. FICI is one of the pressure group in India, which is interest based. Then we have Dalit Panthers, who are caste based. So like this, you should know about various pressure groups in India and what are their shortcomings. One of the shortcomings is that they have financial issues. Another is that they have organizational issues. They are not properly organized. Many are spontaneous in nature and then they go away. So like this, these are issues. Then you should know about the salient features of RPA Act. In this we have features of RPA Act 1950 and 51 and what are the provisions of RPA Act 1950 and 51 along with the section number. Like what is the section 62 for in RPA Act 1951, what is section number 62, what is section number 126, this should be known to us. Then we have appointment to various constitutional posts. In this you should know how these bodies, election commission, union public service commission, how the members of these bodies are appointed, what are the powers of these bodies, what are the functions of them, what are the responsibilities and what are the issues with respect to these bodies. And you should also know the respective article number of these bodies. Say for election commission the article number is 324, for finance commission is article number is 280. The issue may be that the members of finance commission can be reappointed. So this is one of the issues. So for each and everybody, you should know about appointment, power, functions, responsibility issues along with their article number. Then we have at last statutory, regulatory and quasi-judicial bodies. In this you should know the need for such bodies. Why do we need regulators at the first place? So we need regulators to ensure level playing field, to protect the interest of customers and various other reasons. Then what are their powers? Like for RBI, the power is that it can fine the banks if they are not following their orders. The Competition Commission of India can also fine the various industries if it finds that the industries have formed a cartel. Like this. Then what are the functions of these bodies? Then we have types. RBI, SEBI, CCI, TRAI, FSSAI, etc. These are the various types of regulatory and statutory body. Then what are the shortcomings? One of the shortcomings is appointment issue. In appointment issue, the appointment is only done by executive, but it should be based on a committee so that there is no partisanship. Then they have functioning and independence issue. One of the issues is that they are attached to a ministry rather than being independent themselves. And for funds also, they have to be dependent on the ministry. So this puts their independence at stake. Then we have lack of parliamentary oversight, that no parliamentary committee exists to ensure that these regulators are functioning properly. There is no parliamentary committee oversight on these regulators. And then at last, you should know about the recommendations of Financial Sector Legislative Reforms Commission and second ARC with respect to statutory, regulatory and quasi judicial body. What they have recommended for these bodies, that should be known to you. So this more or less concludes our polity syllabus. Thank you.